Welcome to the special product test team edition of the Successful Farming TV show. Our farmer evaluators spent the last 6 months testing the newest side-by-sides from John Deere, Can-Am, and Kubota. In this episode, the farmers share what they loved, liked, and would improve about each machine. First, we head to Paul Heineman's farm in Ogden, Iowa. Paul, along with his brother and their sons, grows corn and soybeans. They've been trying out the Kubota Sidekick.
Well, we mostly had UTVs. We've got a couple of those, and we've had soil samplers on them and things like that. We did not own a UTV. We're testing this one, and it's a very nice machine. We've done, we pull some of the, around the yard. We haven't pulled anything really down the road very much, but around it, we'll hook onto it with the corn heads or something like that to pull them up to the shop to fix them or clean them or whatever. So they will pull quite a bit. Maintenance on the machine, I mean, tilt the box up, the engine's very accessible there. I mean, it's a very easy to maintain machine too. It's very solid and very, like when you load it up with some rocks, you know, they get pretty heavy pretty quick. And so it handles the load real well. Suspension works very well on this machine. What I didn't like about the machine is when you first put it in gear and you step on the accelerator, it lunges into gear. And so that's kind of an issue when you're trying to back up and somebody's trying to hook up. Figure out real quick, you gotta have one foot on the brake and one on the accelerator to try and smooth that out. That was probably the biggest thing that I did not care for. The other thing would be, this one has a radio, which is very nice, but it needs, I'm a knob kind of guy on the volume. It's really hard to adjust it with big gloves and stuff when you gotta push a little button. So those two things are probably the biggest thing.
Our second group of evaluators was the Baker family in Orangeville, Illinois. We caught up with Mark and Kim Baker to hear how this diversified operation used the John Deere Gator XUV865R.
Our farm, we farm with my wife, my two boys, Zach and Chad and Kim. We grain farm, we dairy. We do a sideline business, Baker Precision Planter Works. And then something else that we took on this year, we grow hemp for CBD oil. So that's really kind of a slow day for us anyway, but it's exciting, the stuff that we've gotten into. This machine, it's amazing the amount of torque that they have provided us to use. It's a very strong, geared low, not a fast machine, but they say that it's got over 2,000 pounds of pulling power, and I was just amazed by that. Grain head, grain platforms, hay racks. We've done everything with it, and we tried it out, and it's very, very dependable. This cab is very soundproof. It's very tight. You shut the door on that and you really feel like you're in an automobile. It's just very well designed. The creature features of it is very nice.
The best two features of it were the air conditioning, of course, which is a must, and I liked the cooler, so you could put beverages in there such as water or pop for the kids or juice boxes. We have an older Gator that doesn't have a cab, doesn't have air, that we use for chores, and this is like the Cadillac.
Dislikes on the machine, I would say it might be just a tad bit under power with the AC on. Going up and down hills with a load, it kind of seems to pull a little bit, so it pulls a little power. And I think the other thing that stands out most is there's no radio. The price of this machine, I mean, when my wife rides with me, I have to sing to her, and she's really getting tired of that.
A radio is available for an extra cost. I think the radio should come with it.
Our final evaluator was James Fred from Rochester, Indiana. James runs a dairy with his father, uncle, and cousin, where they've been testing the Can-Am Defender.
We always used to have four-wheelers, ATVs, starting back in the late 90s. More recently, going back to about 2013, that's when I got the first UTV. A list of some of the things that I really liked about the Defender. The shifting, I can shift and know what gear I'm in without having to stare at the dash and find out what gear I'm in. It steers smoothly. It handles rough terrain smooth. The seating is comfortable. Just overall seems more solid and smooth than previous ones that I have operated. Also, something that I did like was the holders for the shovels. That's nice because otherwise you throw a shovel in the back and it's always sliding around, or you got the handle sticking out the side, and the bed is made to accommodate special holders that can hold shovels or rakes or whatever, and so I just keep a shovel on there all the time because you always seem like you need one. Then it's also got the accessory of the rear light that mounts on the back of the cab. That I would never guess that would be so handy, but anytime you got something, you're always operating in the dark, and you flip that on and it's almost as bright as the headlights, and you can see what you're doing in the bed or just simply backing up in the dark. There's several things I found kind of handy on it. One thing was the way that underneath the seat, you can kind of put your feet kind of underneath the seat, where it's got a wall there, and you kind of feel cramped up, but you can feel like you can get in a more comfortable position. I was impressed with the Defender's the seat cushions and stuff. I feel like it gave good back support, and sometimes I can get it in the lower back, so I was impressed that it was very comfortable, even on rough terrain. Overall, the machine is a great machine, and if I had to nitpick on some things, one thing is when I changed engine oil, I noticed that the oil filter is actually a cartridge where you got to take off three screws and to remove that, and it's not so necessarily too hard access, but it's just, I always kind of think of a cartridge as being a little, normally instead of a spin-on, where it's kind of what you're used to a spin-on, but it's not hard to do at all, and that was just one thing I noticed. Things that might be able to be improved on the Defender would be having RPM readout and engine temperature readout. Those are a couple things that, especially RPM, would sure be nice to have.
We asked each evaluator to rank the machine out of 5 stars, with 5 stars being the highest rating. Here's what they had to say.
Oh, I'd give it a 5-star, probably mostly because of the things I've said. It's just very comfortable, easy to get in and out of, and works well.
I'd have to give this machine a 5. I think John Deere got it well laid out. I like the design of it. The turning radius is amazingly tight for a machine of this size, and so I would have to give it all 5s.
For stars, I think I would give it a 5. The ride, the comforts, everything, but like I said, it needs a radio. That's the only downside of it.
I would give it a 4.5. Just shy of 5, just for there's a few things like the RPM readout and just little things, but overall, it doesn't get. I feel like you can't get too much better than that for the money.
Hi, I'm Dave Mowitz. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit subscribe right here if you haven't already, and click that little bell right here to be notified when we post a new video. And click here to see more great videos.